Appointment with love. 6 minutes to 6, said the great round clock over the information booth in Grand Central Station. The tall young army lieutenant, who had just come from the direction of the tracks, lifted his sunburned face, and his eyes narrowed to note an exact time. His heart was pounding with beat that shocked him because he could not control it. In 6 minutes, he would see the woman who had filled such a special place in his life for the past 13 months, the woman he had never seen before, yet whose written words had been with him and sustained him unfailingly. He placed himself as close as he could to the information booth, just beyond the ring of people besieging the clerks. Lieutenant Blandford remembered one night, in particular, the worst of the fighting when his plane had been caught in the midst of a pack of Zeros. He had seen the grinning face of one of the enemy pilots. In one of his letters, he had confessed to her that he often felt fear, and only a few days before this battle he had received her answer. Of course you fear. All brave men do. Did not King David know fear? That's why he wrote the 23rd Psalm. Next time you doubt yourself, I want you to hear my voice reciting to you. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. And he had remembered, he had heard her imagined voice, and it had renewed his strength and skill. Now he was going to hear her real voice. 4 minutes to 6. His face grew sharp. Under the immense starred roof, people were walking fast, like threads of color being woven into a gray web. A girl passed close to him, and Lieutenant Blandford started. Oh, she was wearing a red flower in her suit lapel, but it was a crimson sweet pea, not the little red rose they had agreed upon. Besides, this girl was too young, about 18, whereas Hollis Maynell had frankly told him she was 30. Well, what of it? He had answered. I'm 32. He was 29. His mind went back to that book, the book of Lord himself must have put into his hands out of the hundreds of Army library books sent to the Florida training camp. Of human bondage, it was. And throughout the book were notes in a woman's writing. He had always hated that writing in habit, but these remarks were different. He had never believed that a woman could see into a man's heart so tenderly, so understandingly. Her name was on the book plate, Hollis Maynell. He had got hold of a New York City telephone book and found her address. He had written, she had answered. Next day, he had been shipped out, but they had gone on writing. For 13 months, she had faithfully replied, and more than replied. When his letters didn't arrive, she wrote anyway, and now he believed he loved her, and she loved him. But she had refused all his pleas to send him her photograph. That seemed rather bad, of course, but she had explained, if your feeling for me has any reality, an honest basis, what I look like wouldn't matter. Suppose I'm beautiful. Oh, I had always been haunted by the feelings that you had been taking a chance on just that, and that kind of love would disgust me. Suppose I'm plain, and you must admit that is just more likely. Then I would always fear that you were going on writing to me only because you were lonely and had no one else. No, Don't ask me for my picture. When you come to New York, you shall see me, and then you shall make your decision. Remember, both of us are free to stop or to go on after that, whichever we choose." The girl in the green suit was walking quickly away. 6 minutes. Then Lieutenant Blandford's heart leaped higher than his plane had ever done. A young woman was coming towards him. Her figure was long and slim. Her blonde hair lay back in curls from her delicate ears. Her eyes were blue as flowers. Her lips and chin had a gentle firmness. In her pale green suit, she was like a springtime come alive. He started towards her, entirely forgetting to notice that she was wearing no rose. As he moved, a small provocative smile curved her lips. "Going my way, soldier," she murmured. Uncontrollably, he made one step closer to her. Then he saw Hollis Meynell. She was standing almost directly behind the girl, a woman well past 40. Her graying hair tucked down a worn hat. She was more than plump. Her thick-ankled feet were thrust into low-heeled shoes, but she wore a red rose in the lapel of her brown coat. The girl in the green suit was walking quickly away. Blandford felt as though he were being split in two, so keen was his desire to follow this girl, yet so deep was his longing for the woman whose spirit truly companioned and upheld his own, and there she stood. Her pale face was gentle and sensible. He could see that now. Her gray eyes were warm and kind. Lieutenant Blandford did not hesitate. His fingers gripped the small blue leather copy of a human bondage, which was so to identify him to her. This would not be love, but it would be something precious, something perhaps even rarer than love, a friendship, for which he had been and must be very grateful. He squared his broad shoulders, saluted, and held the book out towards the woman, although even while he spoke, he felt choked by the bitterness of his disappointment. "I am Lieutenant John Blandford, and you are Miss Meynell. I am glad you could meet me. May I take you to dinner?" The woman's face broadened in a tolerant smile. "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Sonny," she answered. "That young lady in the green suit, one who just went by, begged me to wear this rose on my coat, and she said that if you asked me to go out with you, I should tell you that she's waiting for you in that big restaurant across the street. She said it was some kind of a test for you. Oh, I've got 2 boys with Uncle Sam myself, so I didn't mind to oblige you." That's a very funny story.